TV's on in the background, but I like this ambiance.
Hello, friends, and welcome back. And we are coming up to earnings in Square. We've had an eventful earnings couple sessions here. Let's talk a little bit about what happened yesterday because we had some interesting moves, to say the least. One thing that I did, which helped me out a little bit here as we go to the charts here, let's take a look, is that I bought some Roku. Roku had bad earnings. Let's go to the chart for Roku here real quick. But Roku had bad earnings. It was down. Basically what I did was, and I do this sometimes, I made a list. I looked up actually on StockTwits the worst performing stock of the day, and it was Roku at the time. It was down $22. I'll pull up the chart right now for real quick. And it got down to about 60. Just, bad news for earnings. It's obviously a streaming service and just less than expected as far as revenue, I believe. But they still had, I believe, strong numbers as far as growth from subscriptions, but revenue down just due to the economy. So it was way down. You can see it here, but I just figured maybe I get a little bit of a pop back up on as people sort of overreacted. Let's see if I can get my screen straightened out here. So we're a little bit before the open here. This looks weird, doesn't it? Look, the trading screen looks weird here. But anyway, so I did buy it. I paid 63 and change and got a nice bounce yesterday. It's now trading 70. And I've got the situation where you can't do all that many round trips. And I'm trying to get this straightened out here. Hold on, let me see if I get the screen straightened out here. You can't do that many round trips with my 401k. Or I had to wait till a stock settled before I could sell it, and so that meant waiting till today to sell it. But it's still stock trading 71 now, and I bought it paying 63 and change. So nice big profit in one day for us in Roku here. Once again, trying to get this screen straightened out here, but you can see right here 70 bid. And the stock really has bounced nicely, but, I wouldn't be surprised if it just goes right back down now. So probably not a bad time to just kind of bail out of this. You see the low here, 60.58. Right now, 71 and change. So we'll probably look right on the open to just bail out of this position. We once again, we bought 63. If we sell at 71, that's a nice profit in a day or two, which is awesome. All right, so let's go to Square. Square earnings are after the close, as it says in the beginning of this video here, on Thursday night, right now being Tuesday morning. And the position we have on is one of our calendars. So if we pull up the position here, we can see essentially we're long the October 75 and 80 calls. I'm sorry. Yes, we're long the SEP 85, August 85 calendar, plus we're long some October 75, 80 calendars. And essentially, if we look at the option prices, the front week options are jacked to the moon, right? Because earnings are the day before these expire. So although it shows us having a good deal of decay, this probably is not going to decay until the last possible moment, right? So Friday morning, all the decay is going to come out. It's showing right here our delta long 90, collecting almost $500 a day, but we can't really expect any of this decay to come in because it's all going to come in once earnings come out. So earnings are going to come out. This is either going to make a move that's small enough to justify the money we collect, or it's going to move too much and the movement will be greater than the amount of money we collect, and we'll lose money consequently on the trade. I'm going to try to reset up my Greeks here on the bottom of this because it's strange. Thinkorswim, you have it set up, and then one day all of a sudden they do some sort of software update or something, and all of your Greeks disappear. And this happens all the time. So let's put our essential Greeks back up on here on the screen so that we can better evaluate our position. So we've got gamma, theta, delta. If you don't know what these Greeks represent, you can look them up. Delta is basically the stock equivalent. So if it's showing 90 deltas here, that means that this is the equivalent of me owning 90 shares of stock at this point in time. Theta is how much I'm collecting per day. And gamma is the curvature. So it's showing negative 11 gamma. That means up a buck, instead of being long 90 deltas, I'll only be long 90 minus 11, right? So it'd be 79 deltas. So as the stock moves higher, my deltas decrease. Now the stock moves lower, my deltas increase. So deltas are moving against us over time. But we have this theta working in our favor. So due to the fact that we have this 85 calendar on 85's above where we're trading now, due to the fact that that is the majority of our position, we're long delta here. So we're kind of, what we're doing is we're targeting $85 on earnings. Now, how do we know what's going to happen after earnings? We don't. This is just sort of a guess. And I don't even know if we'll leave this. The big question is do we leave this on Thursday at the close and just kind of essentially roll the dice and see what happens, or do we take the position off? If we do collect some of this decay before expiration, do we just take the position off and for a profit? That might be a good idea. Or do we kind of let it ride and see what happens here? Now, we can kind of analyze this a little better if we look at it graphically. So here is what it looks like here. And you can see our break-even points are kind of wide, between 71 here and 99. It's showing us making money between 71 and 99. However, when we're looking at this here, there are a couple factors at play here, right? The one factor, yes, we have this theta decay every day, but the other factor here is this vega number. Now, vega is our risk due to volatility moving, and we know that when earnings come out, volatility is going to come in. Option prices go down after earnings come out. So the options that we're long, which ones are those? Well, if we pull up our position once again here, we can see, all right, we're long these October options, right? We're long the SEP 85 calls, and we're long the October 75 and 80 calls. Now, when we look at this analyzed chart here, this is assuming that volatility stays where it is, right? So volatility stays where it is. Oh, wow, we can collect $3,000, right? And we have these break-even points here. However, we know that volatility is going to come in. So this potential gain here in this chart is going to be offset by how much the far out options that were long come down, because although, of course, the front weeks that were short are going to come down more than the farther out options, these farther out options are going to come down to some extent once earnings come out, and that is not reflected in this price chart here. And nobody tells you that. You just have to know that. It's just one of these other options things. So let's look and try to evaluate these options and try to make a guess about how much they're going to come in on earnings. And we can see if we pull up an implied volatility chart here, or implied volatility numbers, we can see that these options have an implied volatility of around 75, 73, right? The front month stuff that we sold right now, volatility is like 150, right? So huge disparity here, which is in our favor. We bought the cheaper one and we sold the more expensive one. However, these options are due to come down, and farther out options in time have more of an effect because the vega is higher in farther out in time options. So so the question is, these are 75 now. How much are they going to come in? If we go back to our vega here, we're showing 77 vega. So that means overall, if volatility comes, each point volatility goes down, we lose $77. And that could be significant. If it's 10 points, that's $770, right? That would offset a lot of this theta, if not all of it. So how can we evaluate this? Well, one way is to go to our option statistics here, and we could look and see, all right, 52-week low and volatility is 38. So that means if this were to go to the 52-week low, those far out options could go from the 70s to the 30s. I don't think that's going to happen necessarily. It's more likely that they go down, maybe 10 points at maximum. What we could do is we could pull up a chart of volatility over time. So if we go to our chart here, we could do a study, add study, volatility study, and look at historical volatility and see where volatility came from, right? So here we can look and say, oh, okay, well, out in February, average volatility was 50. So it's not in November, it was 40. So it's not unreasonable that this is showing average volatility at 69 right now. So it's not unreasonable that these options that we are long out here, the 75 and 80 calls in October and the SEP 85 calls, it's not unreasonable that these could come in 10 points. So once again, it's unclear. Even having this analyze tab, it's unclear where our exact break-even points are. I think we can be pretty confident that if the stock doesn't move at all and just goes to 85 and sits, that we're going to be profitable, right? But if it goes to 94, do we make money? It's hard to say because we don't. How much volatility actually comes in after earnings is an X factor here, and I haven't traded this through enough earnings cycles to really be able to get a great handle on how much volatility in the back months comes in. But I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. All right, I want to talk about another couple stocks here. Revlon, for example. Now, this was in bankruptcy proceedings, but they just got some money, a loan of $1 billion, or somehow they got $1 billion. Let's see if we can look at and that made the stock spike. You can see Revlon up it was over $9 at one point earlier, I believe yesterday. But Revlon, why Revlon jumped 90%? All right. And this is this other one, Liberty TripAdvisor Holdings went way up as well, even though it's been delisted. Okay, so Revlon gains 89% to close at $8.49 following a Reuters report suggesting the U.S. bankruptcy judge has given the company permission to proceed with a $1.4 billion loan. So when you go into bankruptcy proceedings, it doesn't necessarily mean the end. It can just mean that you're seeking protection from creditors and you're restructuring your debt. And that seems to be the case with Revlon here. And this obviously is positive for the stock as it's ripped to the upside here. Let's go to StockTwits for a second and see what other stocks are on the move at this hour, as we just did have the opening bell. So I could probably think that a lot of people are watching this after this comes out live, but let's take a look at StockTwits here and see what we got going on. And let me remove myself from the picture once again here so we can see a little better. And we've got, I was trading Mara earlier in the week. I don't know if I didn't really talk about that. We've got Bitcoin down $400 today. Movers and shakers, AMTD. This people have been talking about this HKD stock. HKD had IPO was I think $10, and now it's trading. It traded up to 1,000. Pretty crazy. Let's take a look at the chart for HKD. So this would have been a good one to buy on the HPO. I mean on the IPO. Look at this thing. So IPO is $10 and goes to $9.66. So huge winner if you've been in on this IPO here, and I certainly would be selling here. Imagine you get in the IPO and you sell it at 12, and then it goes to 1,000. It's like, how do you know when to sell this thing? But pretty amazing there. All right, so let's quickly, what I'm going to do here. So Square nicely up for us, right? Remember, we came in 90 deltas and we're up a couple bucks here, so that's nice for us. But Roku also up, and I'm thinking that it's probably time for me to get out of Roku because we've done well here. So I'm going to go into my 401k and bail out of Roku here real soon. So Square, I'm interested in your thoughts. I'm long here, targeting an $85 stock price on earnings. If we do make some money ahead of earnings, we might just take the position off. In the meantime, collecting a bunch of decay here. And that's kind of where we stand. It hasn't been a bad week here for trading for the old account, and we're moving forward. I appreciate you checking in with me, and best of luck in your trading. And